Hi, fellow crafters. This is Pam, and I am going to do a tutorial on this that I had made. I did sell one already, and I had made two of these so that I could have something to show you and to refer back to. So this is the one we'll be making. And it's using Ellsiebels bookshelf. It's a digital catch a butterfly. So I just want to show you first like some of the supplies you might need, and then if you wanted to print out the Digi kit, Catch a Butterfly, Ellsiebels bookshelf, I'll put the link in the description. And I will also do this tutorial after this using scrapbook paper if you don't have or don't choose to buy a Digi kit. So let's show you, and if you want to see what this is like, it's the video before this. Okay, so let's see what things you might need. You'll be needing glue, whatever your choice. I like art glitter glue, but you can use tacky glue or whatever. You'll need different, like some twine, your scissors. You'll be cutting out your DigiKit, a corner rounder, whatever you have. Ink, if you prefer to ink. A ruler. For making your binding, it's just a one signature. You'll need a awl and embroidery thread is how I do it, or whatever you like to sew in your binding. And then I use an embroidery or tapestry needle to sew in the binding. Then ruler. I did use two vintage postcards, if you have them. If not, you could just put something else in there. And then I also use like a small book or phone book to, when you do your binding, set it in there when you sew your binding in. An envelope punch board, if you have one. Otherwise, you can just put a regular envelope in. And let's see what else. Little bits of fabrics, ribbon, some, if you have this, twine. If not, it's optional. Eyelash trims, and then I use I use this fringe or whatever lace you have for a couple of the edges. We have seam binding for tag ties, and then I use this. It's like an elastic. I don't know where I got it, but it's like a crochet lace, but it's an elastic for the that I tie around the book, like this, for closure. But you can use whatever you have, material, different lace or whatever. So that's some of the things that you will need. And then I don't have any more of the seed packets that I have here. And you might not either. So I'm just going to try to do something with a window envelope, or if you don't have that, an envelope. Let's see, and I like to use hole enforcers, and I just took a like a marker or to color them brown. And then of course your digis that you will cut out. And then I used a stencil, like a butterfly stencil or whatever stencil you have, and I used different colors. This is color box, paint box, chalk. I like it because it's different inks all in one right here. I think that is about it. You know, if you have a sewing machine, you can use that, but it's not necessary. So the first thing I would do is cut out your images, and I use a thicker, you know, cardstock quality paper for the ephemera, you know, tags. And then you can do coffee dyed or you don't have to. And what I do is there's usually just a tiny little border here. I don't know how to not have that, so I will just cut that off, except for the cover, which is going to be a thicker paper for the cover. But I would just cut that all off, all the edges that have that tiny little edge. So that's the first thing I would do. And how I do mine, I don't know how other people do theirs, but I do it both ways. This way I coffee dyed my paper, plain copy paper, and then if your printer will let you, I put the coffee paper through and print. And you don't have to coffee dye. This one's not coffee dyed. It's just regular copy paper. You could just do that, you know, and then just cut off your edges except for the cover. Sometimes if I want it to look kind of like a watercolor more, I will just print it regular. You know, regular, where's this one? You know, like this. Just print it regular, and then I would coffee dye it. And if you have a inkjet printer, it'll might blend or bleed a little, but I do like that look too. So however you like to do that, get your pages, and then I cut out all my little images here. I do need to look up, there's one that's not in Catch a Butterfly Kit, this one, and I have to look up that one. I can't remember if that's Butterfly Grotto or which one, but, and you don't have to have that one, but this one I did use in this video, or this journal. So we're going to make the cover first thing. So that would be, this is what I've chosen, this one. So that one I cut thicker. This is on a thicker weight paper. So that will be your first step. Print this one on a thicker. It's like a thicker one. And then we will ink the edges of this, as you can see here. And just a few pages we will sew if you prefer. You know, some sewed. If you don't have a sewing machine, you don't have to do that. And I do like to work with a glass mat, but I didn't want you to have the glare. So I'm not using that. Okay. So you have that, and then the inside of this I will glue. It's a lighter weight paper right here. It's the same as this, but it's printed with your lightweight paper. So you will be printing this, a thicker, and then you will print one in the copy weight paper. That is this one here. Oops, you know what? I trimmed it. I didn't mean to do that. It doesn't matter, because I will be gluing these together. See if I have another one. Oh yeah, I do. Here it is. Okay, so don't cut this one. Don't cut the edges of these two, the one that you did with the thick and one that you did with the thinner. And this one I didn't coffee dye. So you will ink that, and I will pause that and ink that also. Okay, so I inked around this, and actually you need to have 2 of the thicker of the same. So you'll print 2 of the thicker, and you will print 1 of these and then ink the edges. This one you don't need to. I'll show you what we'll do with that. But right now, we're going to glue these together, but we will also sew along here, so you don't need to put ink or glue at the very, very edge. I'll just show you a minute. How we will do that. Okay, and then we'll take this, make sure they're the right, going the right way. Yep. Line it up. Okay, and then we are going to stitch with a zigzag, if you have a zigzag sewing machine, all around here. So I'm going to do that, and I will return. Okay, now we have stitched around. It doesn't have to be perfect. What gives it its charm is that it's not perfect, and you want it to look interesting. If you want perfect, then you would just go buy a boring store-bought machine-made journal. And that's not what we want, is it? No. So let's fold it. In half. You can use a bound folder if you have one. And if you want to ink it more, you can. And I used, and this is not necessary, I use a darker black thread. And then for the bobbin, I use a lighter. You don't have to. That's just what I've done here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make one of these invisible pockets, and I call it that because I don't want to cover up the pretty paper, but I do want a pocket or a tuck. So I will cut the thick paper that we also printed. So we're going to cut around this large rose with the envelope. To make the tuck. And then this way. And then, let's see what I did. Then I just cut off this little white edge. I will ink it just a little bit, not a lot. Okay, then I'll take this and we're going to glue it, but just along the edge here in the back. Double check here. I think I just went here and here on the back. Then just line it up the best you can. There we go. So now we have our little tuck there, right here. And then on the back, right here, we're going to do the same. We're going to cut this out for a little tuck. This is that same paper. Okay, I had a little bit too much coffee, I'm a little shaky. I'm trying to hurry a little bit. Cut this little white edge off. Ink it a tad. Then we'll glue it just on the bottom. On the other side right there, right here. And then we'll line it up like so. Oop. There we go. There's your tuck there. Okay, now how much time do we have? Can we get a little more time? So after you've done that, then we're going to be putting our, see if we have any pages that I've sewn on that we want to do before we put our binder book together. I think I did have one page that had some sewing. Not a lot. I thought maybe not. No, okay, because this, what I usually do, and you can, I'll show you later, but okay. So now it's time, I think it was this one, but no. Okay, time to put our book together. Now I'll just follow along with what I have in this one. So I'll put my pages together. So I had this one with the blue butterflies first. Here it is. So let's fold this. Is that right? No, it's the tulip one. Okay, let's do the tulip first. So we got our tulip. The next one is this blue. The next one is, I think I had them in order. The next one is this one. I better show you how I fold them because I fold them differently. So I'll take the tulip one, fold that in half. The next one will be this blue one. Just fold it normally in half. Like so. And the next one will be this, but we're going to fold it the other way. Instead of like this, we're going to fold it with the printed side inward. So that's that page next. Then the next page is this. Let's see, it's this one. And we're going to fold this printed side together. And you can do it however you want. I'm just showing you how I did it. So that's like that, I believe. No, it's not. Oh, let's see. No, it's not. Sorry. It's this one. Coffee dyed together. So that will be like that. And then this one will be printed side together, like that. And then this one will be coffee dyed side folded. Which will be like that. And the next page will be printed side together. It's pink grass. And we'll do the tulip. Coffee side to the inside. Next will be this. And this will be, I believe it's printed side to the inside folded. And the next one will be, okay, what is this one? This one is just a coffee dyed paper. And I need to grab that. Hang on. Okay, I just grabbed a coffee dyed, just a regular, nothing's been printed on it. That will go here. And then this one was also a thick printed one. So we will fold that printed side in the inside. This is where we will be doing our stencil. So that will be like that. And then this is where you would use some of your paper and you'd make a envelope. But for now, this is what we have. And the next step is to sew in your papers. I don't know if I'm going to have time for that, but I'll see. And if I don't have enough time, there's lots of videos showing how to sew in a simple pamphlet stitch. But before we can do that, we also need to make an envelope. So what you would do is make an envelope with your envelope maker. And the one I used, you can use whatever you want, but I think I used, was it 7.5 by 7.5? Doesn't matter, just whatever envelope you want. And I'm going to make that envelope a minute. All right, I used my envelope punch to cut this. The size was 7.5 by 7.5, which gave me a 4 by 5 envelope size. If you you don't have an envelope maker, you can just use a pretty envelope. You know, whatever you have, colored envelope. It's not necessary to have an envelope punch. Let's see, and I'm going to look to see, let's see the prettiest side. Okay, did I do this right? Okay, I think that's pretty. So I'm going to trim off these little edges here to round them. Then so we'll sew it in that way, I think. Yeah, that looks pretty. So you don't glue this down yet. Let's first get this how we want it, and then we're gonna do a 3 pamphlet stitch, 3-hole pamphlet stitch. See if you have time. If not, I'll do it on the next video. And I'll just sew that. I'm going to punch our holes about middle. Kind of about the middle of where this would be about the middle. 1, and then you want to catch your envelope, so you want to get that here. 2, and then about the same on that side. So I need something to hold this down so it doesn't move. Use this big paper clip. Okay, we're still going, so we'll see. And I chose this embroidery thread here, this blue, and then you measure about 3 times the length of your book. You'll cut that, or whatever twine you want to use. Thread your needle, and then you'll just poke this through the middle, come out this side, then go through this hole here, come through, go back through this, come back out, and then go here again, and there you go. And then you just tie this off. Make sure, you know, that's looks good. And then you're going to bring this thread through here. You're going to tie it off, pull it taut, and there you have it. And then you just cut this, and then you're going to be gluing it like this. And then you have your little envelope. So let's do that real quick, and then we'll probably move on to part 2. my glue's not coming up. Okay, let's see. And sometimes I'll just put a little glue along here too. And then here. And there. And there we go. That will be the end of part 1. There's our envelope. I think on the other ones I did coffee dye the inside. I don't really think that's necessary. And then we'll have a little butterfly cutout to shut that. So this is what we have so far. And not cut off. So we have our cover. Here's our page that we made with a little tuck. Let's go through this real quick before we get cut off. So I hope you follow along, and if you have to, just stop the video and see what I've done. So that was fun, and then we'll do part 2. That is what we've got. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you for part 2. Bye-bye.